welcome back to Terrible at Fishing. This is Michael Ruffino. Yes, this is probably my favorite, one of three favorite weeks of the year. Because this weekend, tomorrow, for all you listening on Friday night, is free fishing weekend. That's right, no fishing license required. All waters are available to anyone who wants to go fishing. So what do you fish for this week? I mean, this is a great week. There are still big bass being caught, and that's fun. And we have a derby tomorrow on Saturday on the 21st at Lake of the Woods. And I had a friend catch almost a 6-pound largemouth, 5-pound, 14-ounce at Lake of the Woods just last week. That's a hog. We call that a hog. Big old bucket mouth. This is a big giant mouth, and it was fat as can be. That's the beauty right now, is that these bass are just eating in order to go dormant for the winter. And so you got to throw some really nice big swim baits, slow sinking glides. Just work those that water column with large baits. Don't worry about a 6, 7, 8-inch bait. Yeah, I mean, go 8-aught, 10-aught hooks. They'll hit it. These are big, large mouth bass. And the trout are up in the water column. That's because the bass are chasing them up there. The bass are just getting anything and everything that they possibly can. The kokanee are about to start spawning, so they'll be coming up into the shallows, and that means the German brown trout will be coming up, hitting those guys. So what a great time of year. And what is it this weekend? Free fishing weekend. That's right. It's free. Just go out there with a rod or a string and a hook. We don't care. Go to a river. Go to a lake. Go a pond. We don't care. Just have fun. Bring a lunch. Have some coffee. Some soda pop. You know, me, jerky and Dr. Pepper, I'm a happy man. So that's this week and this weekend. Now, tomorrow I'll be at Lake of the Woods. We'll be doing a live on my Terrible at Fishing YouTube channel. And you'll be able to see what all the fuss is about, how much fun I actually have. Hopefully I'll have some books to sign. We don't know. They're still not really, well, we don't know. I'm recording this earlier in the week, so it may have come today. I don't know. It's a mystery. But I will have my custom baits there. Hopefully show you how I paint them and how I make them. And that is going to be a lot of fun. We'll even make some spinners for some people. So I got a lot of free stuff to give away, and so does Lake of the Woods. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful day tomorrow. I mean, 75 degrees, beautiful weather. Start early, finish by 2. That's right, finish by 2. We don't care when you start in the morning. I'll be there at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning setting up, and 8 o'clock officially, but whatever. And just come to me with your catch. We'll count it, we'll measure it, we'll weigh it. And remember, there is a prize for a live fish. It's got to be releasable. And so the biggest live fish, it will be released, and that person will win a big prize. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. I mean, think about it. I put a really good video last week on Terrible at Fishing on derby prep. Also, it was last week's excuse me, last week's radio show. So this week, I apologize. Ken's not here again. You gotta listen to me. I know how horrible. I am going to torture you this next hour. So, sorry. But I will tell you, I am having so much fun preparing for this event. I always do. And just to see all the kids out there catching fish. And you know, I would love to just make sure that there's a fish on every hook. In February, when we have our ice fishing program, I pretty much do. I visit all the holes with my fish finder, and I just try to make sure everybody catches a fish. So I'm going to have some extra fish finders this year, probably get some extra help out there. So if any of you locals want to help me with a ice fishing festival, just contact me. Go to my YouTube channel. There's an email on all my videos, and just send me an email saying you would love to help me, or go to my Facebook page. And remember, we're doing this for the love of the game. And to see the smiles, on the kid's face. To me, that's everything. That is absolutely everything. So there are some interesting news this week. I've been, I'm feeling a lot better, and I'll be feeling really good tomorrow at Lake of the Woods. My daughter will be with me. She's going to help me out, and we're just going to make sure that everybody is happy. And I will, I went to a local shop today, Ledge, the Ledge. Mike owns that. A lot of Mikes in the world. I'm a Mike, he's a Mike, everybody's a Mike. And I told him, I noticed that kayaks were coming down in price. And he goes, yeah, there's an oversaturation of kayaks in the marketplace. This is a great time to buy a kayak. I don't care where you're getting it from. And what a great time to get a kayak, really hundreds of dollars cheaper. So, I have a Moken 12.5. Last time I saw it online, it was $6.99, and that's a $1,000 kayak. What a great deal. And that's a 12.5-foot fishing kayak. It's in the garage, fully fitted with everything, including a stand-up bar. Pretty nice. So you can get out on the water really affordably right now. And what a wonderful time to do it. It's free fishing weekend. I know, it only happens 3 times a year. This is it. This is the last time this year that you don't need a fishing license. So for all of you people that are, if that's your roadblock, it's removed. It is removed. Just make sure that you're polite. Ken and I are always telling you, tote in, tote out. Do not leave a mess. Clean it up. Always pick up more than you bring in. Just make sure it's nice and pretty. The Lake of the Woods is a gorgeous lake, and it's pristine, for a resort lake. And remember, there's a free concert tomorrow. Tonight at dark, they're showing, it's an outdoor movie, projected outdoors. And what a fun little trip, after the show, drive up there and, cuddle up in a blanket, some warm cocoa, and just have fun watching a fun movie. I love Klamath Falls. You guys know that. I just love Klamath Falls. It's a beautiful town. We have beautiful people, and we have beautiful scenery and great outdoor activity. And I did a video this week on community radio, which is what you're listening to me on right now. Gold Country 103.3 FM is a community radio station, and it is supported by voluntary donations. So, it's just like anything. The community supports this station, both in listeners and in other ways. So, go to goldcountryradio.org and just, see how you can help this radio station not only stay on the air, but expand. And what some great shows! Hunting shows, fishing shows, and other. This is the station. It's the only station with these shows locally. You can't find another station for me. For fishing. No, I am the only fishing show on the radio here locally, or to be heard. And this is the only station for fishing reports every 4 hours. And it's the only station with a hunting show and other shows. You gotta just love this stuff. So, fishing. Now, last week I went over a whole bunch of good stuff on where to fish, how to fish, and how to catch fish. Right? I want you all to go to Terrible Fishing and look at Derby Prep. The Derby Prep. So, we'll go over a little bit more of it right now. And so the perch is really the target species. We want you to catch a lot of perch. And the perch is the easiest. If you're fishing from shore, 3 foot, below a bobber with a small jig and a little piece of worm, and you'll catch perch. So if you're fishing from the bank, throw out a bobber with about 3 feet below it, and you'll catch perch. You just will. It's the way it is. Perch love to be, because when you're casting from the bank, you're only going to be in about 5 feet of water. So you're going to be, that 3 feet is going to be like 2 feet off the bottom, which is pretty good for perch. Remember, trout too is a target species. It's the largest limit. This is all on the honor system too. You can use 2 rods because you don't need a license for this weekend. And you want to be able to use 2 rods to start pulling in and bring a bucket or a bag or something. So put all your fish in. And so if you catch a live fish, things like trouts don't usually stay alive, but bass do. So the bass are hitting right now. So if you want to catch a big bass, I would suggest a swim bait, a 6 to 8 inch swim bait. Let it sink. Let it get down towards the bottom. I think I've got the Lake of the Woods does have some beautiful soft swim baits that I made that are completely weedless, and they got an 8/0 hook. You could use those, and you just run them through the grass and wait for that big old bucket mouth to hit it. Put it in a bucket, keep it in the water, keep it alive, bring it straight to me, all right, at the marina. Let me measure it and weigh it, and let me release it. And of course, you're going to take lots of pictures, and make sure that you are able to do that. So you don't have to keep it alive all day. You just have to keep it alive long enough for it to come to me, so I can release it. So please try that. Spinners are working really well right now. Little rooster tails. Try some rooster tails. And bring them. You want to bounce them near the bottom where the trout are without catching the bottom, because we always lose spinners. I mean, it's just the way it is. But you want to be able to stop and start it, activate, stop, pause, activate, stop, pause, and just work that spinner towards the bottom. Let it sink 5 seconds. Let it go down 5 feet, 6 feet, and work it slowly, just activating the spinner with a few pauses. And see how many trout that you can get. The limit is 5, and the biggest limit gets a prize with a tiebreaker of weight. Or the other way around. I'm not sure. I'll figure it out. It's either length, tiebreaker of weight, or weight, tiebreaker of length. It's one of the two. But we're not going to have a tie. But definitely catch your 5. Make sure it's you, all right? We get guys going out there in a boat, with 5 guys, and they come back with 5 fish. I know that's not true. I know that, this is Klamath Falls. This is where honest people live. This is where, people are good sports about things. If you only caught 2, you only submit 2. That's the way it is. We do have the biggest fish, too, the contest, too. So so you might catch a 23-inch trout. We don't know. If it's a brown trout, it might be 32 inches or 30 inches. But try to keep it alive. Please keep the brown trouts alive so we can release it. We really want the brown trouts to stay in the lake. That's what we want. Technically, you can keep it, but take your pictures. We'll do the measuring, give you your prize, and then we'll put it back in the lake so somebody else can have a great time catching that fish when he gets bigger. Because we got some honkers out there, boy. I mean, there's 30. I mean, I think the lake's I caught a 27, largest, I think it's 33 and a half inches. And, these are 10-pound trout. These are 10-pound trouts. And so these are big guys. And you can catch a 10-pound bass too. They're there. They are there. You just got to be patient and find them and give them what they want. It sounds so easy, doesn't it? My goodness. I am trying to get those books delivered, but I really don't know. As of the recording of this, we are looking at, it's not even shipped yet. Yeah, we probably won't have any books to sign. Sorry, guys. If we do, they'll be a surprise. But we'll definitely have baits that I made, and you'll be able to see me make baits, see the molds that I use, answer any questions that you have about bait making. It's nice to have a bait maker in front of you, so you could go ahead and ask me any questions that you want. Don't ask me about flies because I'm just learning how to fly fish, and as much as I want to learn how to tie flies, that's one of those things that take a long time to learn. And I'm having an expert fly tyer and fly fisherman actually teach me. So maybe next derby in a year, we can do some fly tying demonstrations at the lake. That would be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun to do, huh? Give me a year. Give me a year on that. As for where to go for a product, guys, we have quite a few stores in town. We got Sportsman's Warehouse, we got Big Five, we got Parker's Rod and Gun, we've got Buy Mart, Walmart. Just go get a simple rod and reel. Go get a simple rod and reel, and I've been shopping like estate auctions, so I've got some stuff coming in, and going to be a lot of fun. Again, trying to get as much stuff as I can to give to the kids for the event, and I'm trying to work it as much as I can for you guys. If it's not this event, these products and stuff like that will be at the next event. I would love to have a lot of ice fishing stuff too for February. That would be epic. I'm just, I'm looking around my studio and my workshop here, and seeing what I can put together, for a really good price. A lot of little things, custom made spoons, spinners, soft baits and hard baits. So I'm looking forward to that. As for the weather, we're going to have beautiful weather, as you already know. It was 75 degrees today, and all that rainy stuff's gone behind us now. We're going to have a beautiful blue day tomorrow at Lake of the Woods. We're also going to have the marina. Aaron tries to have some really cool special stuff in the marina at the pizzeria. So see what he's got in there. I always like ordering off menu. I know. Off menu means it's good. Although on menu is pretty good too. I don't know. I like eating, and I like soda pop. Although it's all diet soda pop now. But yes, we call it soda pop. Yeah, we don't call it colas. We don't call it soft drinks. But technically, what's a soft drink? I know. All drinks are soft. They're made of liquid. So isn't technically all drinks soft? Now, it's a soda pop. So, it pops when you shake it, and it has soda in it. That's what makes it pop. So us old timers, we call it soda pop. I'm always getting corrected about fly fishing. Fly fishing poles are not fly fishing poles. Those purists out there, they all want to call them a rod. Okay, fly fishing rod. I'm working on it. I'm working on how to figure out how to say things properly so I don't make other people mad. It's like calling a scrub jay or a sailor's jay a blue jay. You know, to an Audubon guy, that drives him nuts because there are no blue jays on the West Coast. In the Western United States, blue jays don't exist. You probably don't realize that, but you know, it's like what was seeing a yellow-rumped warbler and me calling it a butterbutt. You know, Audubon guys, it drives them nuts. And so I'm not, you know, I'm a bird watcher, and I have fun. So its nickname is Butterbutt. And if you want to call a scrub jay a blue jay, you know, technically it isn't. But I'm not going to get mad at you or get irritated. You know, technically there's no such thing as a blue feather in the avian world. You probably didn't know that. But whenever you see a blue on a bird, that's not blue. It's brown. The brown feather is cut in a way that refracts only blue light, but hold it that feather between you and light, it's brown. Blue does not exist in the avian world. It just doesn't exist. It's an optical illusion that all of us have. And so, kind of weird, but very true. And you know, another cool thing, you know, we have bald eagles. And you guys, if you ever go to where the bald eagles really do nest, you'll notice how big their nests are. And here is a bar trivia question. You can probably win every time. Ask somebody how heavy is a bald eagle's nest on average? How heavy? How much does it weigh, a bald eagle's nest? And some people will probably guess 50 pounds, 100 pounds. You know, if somebody's really aggressive, they're going to say about, 300 pounds. Because they are pretty big. They are pretty big. But I will give you a few lead-ups to it. Bald eagles do mate for life. They live about 35 years. They don't use little twigs for their nest building. They use branches. And they use the same nest every single year, building on it every single year for 35 years. Now, with that information, how much do you think a bald eagle's nest, on average, weighs? I'll let you think about it for a moment. And then I'll let you think, I'll give you another clue. How much does, like a Volkswagen Bug weigh? So, with that information, if you came up with 2,500 pounds on average, you came up right. Give or take 21 to 2,500 pounds. That's the average bald eagle's nest. Over a ton. And they can be as deep as 9 feet deep. I mean, these are huge nests. These are bald eagles. These are ones we see around here all the time. And so bald eagles have, I mean, their nest gets so heavy that trees fall. And then they got to start over again. How disappointing is that? You spend, 2 decades working on this house, and then it falls. But that's the beauty of our area. Our area is amazing. That's a trivia question that you could win in a bar, I guess. Oh, here's another one. Has nothing to do with nature though, but I didn't believe it. I had a buddy that was a basketball coach, and he taught girls basketball. Although, this applies to men's basketball and girls, I would guess. So, all the girls use a smaller basketball. How big is the hoop in relation to the ball? Now, I play basketball every once in a while, and when I found this out, I didn't believe him. I didn't believe him because I can't make a basket. So, but he uses this to prove that it's all in our head, and our hands, and our eyes, and our arc, and our skill level. But you can take 2 basketballs, regulation basketballs, and put them side by side and pass them through a hoop, side by side. The hoop is twice the size of a basketball. Now, I didn't believe that. So there happened to have been a sporting goods store across the street from where we were. So me and a couple other guys, we walk across the street, And this guy, the clerk goes, "What are you guys doing?" I go, "Some guy said that we can pass 2 basketballs through a hoop." He goes, "There's no way." And this guy works in a sporting goods store. I go, "I know." And so we took 2 regulation basketballs, and sure enough, they squeezed side by side through a hoop. And we all looked at each other and said, "Why can't we put 1 through a hoop?" And that was the point. That was the point. All right, enough bar trivia. Something to win a drink, I guess. Soda pop. I know. 2 balls side by side through a hoop. The girls, they have the smaller ball. So, I mean, obviously, there's easily passes through the hoop. But 2 regulation men's basketballs side by side can go through a hoop. And now you know how big a bald eagle's nest is. Now, as this water gets colder in our area, that's going to push warm water fish down. And the warm water fish are going to come up, hitting the bigger fish in order to fatten themselves up for the winter so they can go sleepy by. And that's what's going to happen now. It's happening right now. You're soon going to be able to see the kokanee salmon at Lake of the Woods break surface and look like a pod of dolphins. They literally jump out of the water in an arc in schools pretty soon. And then they're going to come up to the main ramp at the marina, and you can just literally kick them aside while they're spawning. And there'll be hundreds and hundreds of them for about 2 weeks in October. So it's a great time to just call and say, "Hey, are they spawning?" And then take the family up there with a camera, and if you can get the camera underwater with a baggie or something, or your phone, just get some really cool underwater footage of the kokanee while they're spawning. And, of course, a great time to catch German brown trout to just have fun. And you'll see me make some baits tomorrow at the marina. That would be perfect because they'll imitate a spawning coke. So it is just a really fun time to hit the lake. And remember, at 3 o'clock tomorrow is a band called Sauce. And then the barbecue starts too. So, and then tonight is the outdoor movie night. And it's always a family-friendly film. I kind of forgot what the film was on. So the Lake of the Woods is we're just gonna try so hard to make everybody happy tomorrow. And I think with everybody at the lake, you'll make some new friends, and you'll enjoy a day with the family in nature. And you can meet my oldest daughter. Yeah, Rebecca. She'll be with me. So it's my daddy's gift. It's my anniversary gift. She spends a day with me, and so I picked the event for her to spend the day with me. So it'll be fun. I need some help. It takes so much out of me, so. As for if you want rentals for tomorrow, make sure that you contact Lake of the Woods ahead of time. All right, welcome back to Terrible at Fishing. For this segment, we're going to talk about what to bring to your day of fishing this weekend. And, obviously you're going to bring your fishing pole. You're going to bring a bucket, like I told you, and probably some spinners or little jigs with some worms or a power bait on it, which my favorite power bait is Tequila Sunrise. It's black and purple. So really nice, actually. But besides that, we're going to talk about, accessorizing. Yes, ladies, even fishermen accessorize. So I happen to like a certain brand of coffee, and I get it delivered every month, and so I got all these points, and I actually got my gift Basically, you get little, you get stuff. And so I got a fanny pack. I know. And you know what? Fanny packs have a bad name. For a dude, we don't want to call them fanny pack. We call them sort of a waist. Let's see, what would we call this? We would call this, uh, well, I'm old, so I'd call it a hippie bag, because, you can put it around your hips and it's a bag. But this is actually a really good bag. Um, and this allows me to carry necessary stuff wherever I'm at. So having a small tackle bag, whether it be on your waist or be a shoulder bag or even just a little box, that's really, really important because you're gonna lose baits. You're gonna want to try different things, but you just gotta have something to put your stuff in. Now I like my little hippie bag. It's from Black Rifle Coffee. It's my favorite brand of coffee, and it's got room for a small tackle box. It's got little pockets in it. It's got a felt on the outside. I can just hang certain lures on it. Little itty bitty pocket there, and it's padded. So, and it looks cool. It's camo. It's important when you're accessorizing to look cool, because that's the whole point of accessorizing, right, guys, gals? So, anyway. Having a small bag is really, really nice in order to have all your stuff. Now, it's important to stay hydrated. And if you do that, it's important to find a bathroom. So, when you get older, you just need the bathroom a little bit more often. So, find a spot not far from the public facilities. If you're in a boat, you might want to bring something. I know I do. I've been in the hospital a lot, so I kind of took what they gave me there. So, very important. Also, it's going to be a beautiful day this weekend. It just is. It's 75 degrees. It's going to be gorgeous. Blue skies, no clouds. You're going to need sunscreen, even though it may only be 70, 75 degrees where you're at. That sun will sneak up on you. So get some sunscreen and put it in your little bag. Also, a hat. Hats also work very, very well for lots of reasons. One, it shades your head. Two, you don't get a hook stuck in your head. It gets stuck in the hat. It happens. When I worked at the marina, I used to pull hooks out of people all the time. And I remember this one lady coming into the marina. She had a hook in her head. She said her husband was breaking out the pliers and wanted to remove the hook. Came at her like, a mad scientist. So I says, nah, I'll take it out for you. I go, there's a little trick that you do, and it works every time. It's past the barb, and when it's past the barb, you got to know the trick. So I took some fishing line, and I sort of wrapped it around the hook, and I told her that I'm going to pull it out, and I just yanked it out, and she didn't even notice it. She goes, okay. I go, it's out. Done. By the way, you can go to YouTube. That's where I found this little trick, and it works. It really does work. So I would, sometimes Band-Aids are good too. I always have a small medical kit with me. I'm a bleeder because I'm on blood thinner. So when sometimes I don't even know I'm bleeding because I have numbness in my on certain limbs, and I'll look down and I'll see all this blood down there on the boat, and I'm thinking that's probably mine. So I got to find the hook, that's stuck in my leg, pull it out, clean it up, and put a bandage on it. in order to stop the bleeding, of course. So most of you would feel that hook. I do not. So there are certain things that you're going to, and snacks. Got to bring some snacks. You know, my favorite things really, and is Diet Dr. Pepper. I love Diet Dr. Pepper. And something totally bad for me, which I, try not to have too much of, is jerky. I love jerky. Really thick, wonderful jerky. But that's up to you. I mean, what you want to bring. Pack a sandwich or two. If that's, I don't usually eat sandwiches. I'm just kind of a nibbler when I'm fishing all day. Nuts. I actually bring, a can of nuts typically, or a trail mix that I make with raisins in it. Those things are just something to keep, And then a towel. Bring a towel. Just a washcloth or something, a hand towel of some kind. You're going to find that, you're going to handle a lot of fish. So I'm always wiping my hands. And and then a Leatherman or some kind of multi-tool. I always have my multi-tool on my waist, on my belt clip here. And it's also got a whistle. It's called the Signal by Leatherman. My son bought it for me. And I would, it's around here someplace. I always hate the fact that I can't find that thing, but you got to have a whistle. Sometimes if you're out on the water and you have a hard time out there, a whistle will save your life. And it is, if you're out on the water too, you need a PFD, a personal flotation device, which is another way, a fancy way of saying a life preserver. The sheriff will be out there, so he will be checking all these things. If the state troopers are out there, actually the state troopers will not be out there because it's free fishing weekend. They check fishing licenses. But, the sheriff will be out there, and he may just pull up next to you and make sure that you either have a waterways permit, boat registration, make sure you got your safety gear, things like your PFD, as well as your whistle. These are things that he will check every single time in order to make sure. Remember, 12 and unders, children have to have a life vests on all the time. They cannot be out on the water without a white life vest. And believe me, you will get ticketed and cited for having your children without life vests. So these are things that you kind of want to make sure that you go through the checklist in the morning. And if you're on the water, a few more things. If you're on bring a chair too. I mean, if you're bank fishing, get comfortable. If you have waders, try to get out there a little bit into that 2 to 3 foot area and wade out there into the water and try to get a little bit farther out there or cast towards the shoreline, parallel to you. And you'll find that you'll catch more fish as you cast towards the shoreline than you would away from the shoreline. And these are really simple tips in order to have more fun and be more competitive out on the lake tomorrow. So I would take advantage of some of the accoutrements that the resort offers. I mean, if you've never had the pizza at the marina, for $3.50 a slice of pizza, I mean, come on. That's awesome. And typically, Aaron, the manager of the pizzeria, will have some off-the-menu stuff, maybe some hot dogs and burgers or sandwiches or something like that for the event. So it's sort of a grab and go. You grab, pay and go. Maybe you'll get those really good, potato wedges. I forgot what they call, but sometimes and chicken nuggets, boneless, or the boneless wings. Oh, those are good. And never pass up. I always have a salad. So the summer berry salad, if he's got all the stuff for it. That's my favorite thing at Lake of the Woods. It's the summer berry salad. So there are some really nice little, and then of course, um, the marina is great for coffee and soda pop and stuff like that. So it's I mean, you may want to, take advantage of some of that. And maybe he'll have breakfast. I don't know. I have to ask. I'm gonna have to check, see if he'll have breakfast tomorrow. Sometimes he makes a breakfast pizza. Oh my goodness, the breakfast pizza is fantastic. These are things that hit and miss at the resort. You just never know what Aaron is going to serve up. So I love that. They will have, of course, rentals for unmotorized stuff, and so you can rent a kayak or a canoe or something like that, and get out on the water. So that's nice, or a boat, a motorized boat. They got lots of that, but hopefully you've already reserved that. Typically, they're pretty reserved up for the Derby, for all the boats, and they got two boats, 4-person pontoon boats with motors, and it used to be the pedal boats with the big old wheel in the back, and it's got a canopy and stuff. So they call them the puddle ducks. I encourage them to call them the kestrels. I mean, puddle ducks. But anyway, they got two, and those are actually really fun to rent. I did it. I rented one, or took one out once, and just to see what it was like, and it was fun. It was a fun little boat for me and a couple of people, and we had a great time out on the water. So really fun, really fun. I'll try to give you in the morning all the information on water temperature and stuff like that out on the lake. So I might get out there and do some readings and help you guys out a little bit more with some statistics, and it'll help you understand where the fish are. I have a really good video on Terrible at Fishing on understanding water temperature and what that means. Typically, what I would tell people is always bring a pool thermometer too, and toss it into the lake, let it sit for a few minutes and let it get a good reading, bring it into you, and see what the surface temperature is like out on the lake. And that'll help you understand where the cold and warm water fish are and how to fish that. So, I mean, pool thermometers are cheap. I mean, get them in thrift stores for a buck or two, and at Walmart or wherever you can find them. And it really is one of the most. There are on a fish finder. We look at water temperature all the time, and in order to understand where the fish are, and then of course depth and topography. If we see fish down there, better yet. But typically on a fish finder, the first thing that we look for is water temperature. It's extremely important to understand water temperature and to catch a fish. So stay tuned. We're going to get into even more tips on what to do tomorrow and this weekend, and some really nice spots that I think you guys will enjoy. All right, welcome back to Terrible at Fishing. For this next segment, we're going to talk about location, location, location. I know. And we're not even buying a house or setting up a business. But when it comes to fishing, it's all about location, location, location. And presentation. So we're going to talk about that in this segment. And if you're at Lake of the Woods tomorrow for the Derby, which I hope you all are, remember, private docks are private docks, including the marina. The marina, those are private docks owned by the marina. You're not allowed to fish from the docks. The only docks you are allowed to fish from, and with great caution and yielding right of way to every boat, and it's the ODFW docks at each of the boat ramps. There's 3 of them. There's Aspen, the main one, and Sunset. You can fish from the ODFW docks, but the right of way is ramp usage. You do not want to cast when boats are coming in or going out, where that boat is traveling. So, if you were at the Sunset, which I think is a great spot, by the way, Sunset ramp is probably the least used out of the 3 ramps. But if you walk out onto that dock and look left, nothing but fish. Nothing but fish. And boats will not be crossing your path, and you will not be crossing their path. So it really is one of the best spots. Yeah, it really is. Now, Aspen, same thing. Walk out onto the dock, look left. A lot of fish right out there. You have to cast a little farther. Personally, I would probably walk over to, around where the cove bends right there. And there's a big tree down right there. Just make yourself at home, cast it out there with a bobber and start catching fish. These 2 spots are really, really, really good. They're really good. The problem about the main ramp is that the fish are in the boat's traffic area. So you may not want to do the main ramp dock because you may cause some angst, would be a good way to put it. I've received some of that angst. When I used to work there, I just cast it out for about 15 minutes, and then some people are, they're not nice. They think that the public dock is a private dock. It is not. It just isn't. But there are rules that go with the ODFW docks. So you want to make sure that you obey those rules. And the rule is those docks are for boats first and fishing second. So please try to remember those things. Now, some other spots besides those docks right there. I would go over at Aspen, that little cove left of the boat ramp. There's a little point that comes out there. That point, I would get right on that point and cast straight out. The beautiful things, the topography there, stair steps down 3 times. And it's great for ambush predators. And I've caught that 27-inch, 9-pound brown there. You can catch some really big fish right there. And I'd set up a chair right there and just have fun. If you can wade out there just a little bit, get in the 2-3 feet, and get a little bit farther out there, I think you guys will just be busting some pretty good sized fish right there. 1-2 pounders, and just have a good time catching those fish right at the Aspen Point. Now, Aspen Point comes around to a campground there, so you can fish that area right there. It's really good for bass. I love that little spot. Work the shoreline, but it just works really well. There's some good cover right there. It's where the vegetation transitions into a rocky bottom. And because of that transition, it creates a grass line and also little cubbies for ambush predators. And fish are ambush predators. They just are. I mean, they're going to take anything swimming over them and get them. Again, you could use bobbers, but I like to work lures. I'm a lure guy. I mean, I just like swimming baits. I like getting a lure out there and just working it. But with lures, you're going to be bipolar on lures, for tomorrow. At Lake of the Woods, you're going to go really tiny or really big. Now, the reason you go really big is because there are still those largemouth bass are coming up and they're hitting these trout. And so you almost want to go with a trout imitation and swim that right along the bottom of the where you're fishing. And it works really well. You won't catch as much. You're going to have heavier gear. Remember, your fishing rod tells you how much weight you can cast right above the handle. So make sure that you understand how much weight you can cast, because a swim bait is going to weigh about an ounce. It's give or take. It's going to be about an ounce. So you need stronger string and you need a stronger rod. You can't throw 1 ounce swim bait with a trout rod. So you just typically cannot do that. So you want to use a rod that can handle it, which is like a medium heavy, depending on the brand. Maybe even a heavy, depending on the brand. And get that thing out there really far and work the bottom. I love making these swim baits, these soft swim baits, because it's got an 8/0 hook and it's upturned, and I can skin hook the bait, and I could throw it in. I could fish on top of lily pads, which I have done, and caught fish. So there's not going to be a lot of top water hitting. There just isn't, because the water's cold. So these fish are going to be coming up, hitting what they want, and then going back down, because they cannot survive for a long period of time in warmer waters. So you want to do that. You really want to do that. I mean, give it a shot if you've got the gear to do it. If you don't have the gear to do it, then stick with a spinner for lures. I love Blue Fox. Blue Fox is a great spinner. I do make some spinners for myself that are really, really good, slow activated spinners. Blue Fox has a sonic bell design to it, and the Blue Fox works really well. I would go with sort of a gold bladed or even a rainbow bladed blade in order to get the attention of bigger fish. If you want, and don't go beyond a 1/4 ounce. Don't go beyond a 1/4 ounce. I mean, any trout rod can handle that. Just stick with that. If you want to go smaller and catch more fish, then go with a 1/16 of an ounce and try to get it to cast out there. Again, that's going to be either a BFS rod or a spinning rod. So, but that's what you want. That's what you want to do. And I've told you how to work a spinner. Now, again, throw a bobber out there, and with some worm or some tequila sunrise power bait works really, really well too. But you're going to run that about 3 feet below the bobber. You want to get that down into the water column, because those fish are going to be sort of hovering about 1 foot or 2 above bottom. And you're going to want to use that for that. And they'll come up and they'll hit it. They'll hit it. They will hit it. And let me see what else. Let's go. Let's talk about hard baits. Hard baits. I love hard baits. Crank baits. Now, if you're bank fishing, you got to use a crankbait that doesn't go below 4 feet, typically. So you're looking at a square bill crankbait, and you're going to use that crankbait in the same understand what a crankbait wants to do and let it do its job. But I do love pausing crankbaits. So if you want to throw it out there, again, very small crankbait, you want to go small, because those bass, they're probably, especially near the shoreline, they're not going to be there. They're going to be farther out. I would send that crankbait out and let it do its job and pause it for 1, maybe 2 seconds. Take a couple breaths and then continue its travel to you. And again, a small crankbait will catch everything. It just will. It'll catch bass, it'll catch trout, it'll catch perch, crappie, everything. A very small crankbait will do that. So I'll have some at the table. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, I will be able to show it to you. I'll try to bring a good selection of baits, so if you ask me what you would use, I can show you what I would use in order to catch bait or fish. Now, if you are on the water, I would go with a Ned rig. A Ned rig, again, let it run all the way to the bottom in about 30 feet, and let it just run on the bottom. So you're going to let it fall, and it will stand up on the bottom of the lake, and you're going to move it every few minutes. Jig it up, let it fall. You're going to be in about 35 feet of water. So your target for a Ned rig is going to be 35 to 25 feet, because you're going to work the drop off, that slant from 12 feet down to 50 feet. And by doing that, the bass will be traveling up this drop off in order to come and get food and then dive back down. So you're basically in its travel area. And a soft plastic bait would work really, really well on the drop off. And the nice thing about the Ned rig, again, it is also a multi-species. So you could be pulling up a brown trout, you could be pulling up a rainbow trout, or you could be pulling up a kokanee. I don't know. You could pull up all sorts of stuff with a Ned rig. And so your color of Ned rig would definitely be in that green pumpkin or watermelon color range. That's what I've been having really good success with, is the green pumpkin range. And it's been very, very good. Now, I've had better success with salted ones. And so if you can salt it, or even put some garlic on it, get a garlic scent and soak it for about 15 to 20 minutes. So you're going to want to sort of put the garlic scent in the baggie and just let it sit while you go travel out to your spot to go fishing. But that's what I would do for catching a live, catching a bigger one. If you're in a boat, finding that drop off, which isn't too far beyond the buoys. So typically, I would probably work the drop off on the north end. There's a really good, if you were to look, I don't know, at the green gazebo. The green gazebo is sort of like my really good fishing marker. So I find that green gazebo and I go straight out. And where it starts to drop off, that's really a great spot to go fishing. Another really good spot to go fishing is by the Boys Scouts, although it's probably not called Boy Scouts anymore because they let girls in. But you're going to come off of their facilities about 300 yards, and you can come out about 300 yards. You're going to find a lot of tall vegetation down there. Now, this is sort of hit and miss this time of year, but I would take a big swim bait and I'd work it through all that grass right there, and you might catch, a personal best. We call it a PB, and this time of year is really good for us all to catch a PB, a personal best. And a buddy of mine, he didn't catch it there; he caught it somewhere else. 5 pound, 14 ounce, just a week and a half ago. And so you might want to, the green gazebo is a hint. That area is pretty good. When I go ice fishing, I go straight out to the, from the green gazebo too. Find my 16 feet depth and I go fishing. So I would definitely, find that green gazebo and fish straight out. Now the cool thing too, right next to the green gazebo, there's a lot of vegetation on the shoreline, so there's usually some pretty good sized bass there. But again, water's cooling down, so I think you'll have to get farther out there. But if you could get wade out there a little bit and then cast towards that bush, all that bush, and then just work that shoreline there, I think you'll catch. You might be able to catch some really nice looking fish right there. So again, a very good spot. So I want you guys to stay tuned for the next segment. So again, Thank you for supporting community radio and listening and giving me the time is terrible at fishing. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Terrible at Fishing. The finale, right? My favorite weekend of the year is the fishing derby. Well, it's actually 3 weekends, so this is one of 3 free fishing weekends. Now, we're going to talk in this segment about what's on your rod besides what we already talked about, which was the bait or the lure. So we're going to talk about how important the line is. Now, most people, when they go fishing, they use monofilament line. Monofilament line is clear, it looks plastic, it's stretchy. Okay, it's stretchy. Now, the one thing about stretchy line, one, it's cheaper, and it's definitely the cheapest line that you can buy. But stretchy line gives the ability for the fish to pull on it and create slack. So it's probably the least reliable line for landing a fish. Now, the other plastic looking line is called fluorocarbon. Fluoro is actually my favorite line. When I use a clear line, this is what I use. Now, 2 reasons. One, fluorocarbon does not stretch practically at all. It is very tight, so when I set the hook, the fish really, if I lose it, I lose it. It's not the line losing it. It holds a knot better, which is really, really good. You don't want to have a knot, loosen on you and untie. And fluorocarbon has the same refractive properties as water. So as the fluorocarbon sinks into the water, and it is a sinking line, it will sink into the water, it becomes completely invisible to the fish, and you for that matter. So it really is, fluorocarbon works really, really well. Now, what weight? What strength? Fluorocarbon is, it can be fussy on bigger strengths. So what I do is I use 4 or 6 pound almost all the time on fluorocarbon, unless I'm throwing a swim bait with a leader. And if you throw a swim bait, add a leader. And I have a 25-pound fluoro leader on my swim bait rod. And if you do that, again, the bait will, I give it about a 5-foot leader, and the bait will look like it's swimming by itself, without a line on it. And it helps get a little bit more hits on your baits when you add a leader to bigger baits instead of going straight braid. And I do use braid. Braid actually casts the farthest. Excuse me. But it's visible in water. So we add a little bit of a leader to it in order to make that line disappear to the bait itself. Now, I've talked hooks a lot. Because hooks is really your strength or your weakest link when it comes to fishing. Now, I'm a big, Gamakatsu fan. I love Gamakatsu hooks, but there's a lot of good brands out there. And my big swim baits have Owner Beast hooks. Owner is another really good brand, but virtually all my baits have Gamakatsus. So, why is the hook important? Because you can buy a bait in the store, and it'll get a fish on it, but then the fish is able to spit it out. And nothing more frustrating than getting excited and then depressed all in the same second. And that's what hooks do. A bad hook will drive you nuts. Another nice thing about my Leatherman, it's got a sharpener on it. And so I actually can deburr my hooks out on the water. And using a hook sharpener is really, really nice to have. It's just a small little, file, and it just deburr your hooks every once in a while. Once in a while, you just got to replace the hooks on your favorite baits, and I have to do that on a regular basis because, your baits will catch wood and this and that, and it just happens. They'll get a little dull, and you can't sharpen them anymore, and then you just got to put another hook on it. When you buy a store-bought bait, typically they're pretty dull. They'll give you a nice bait, but not great hooks. Now there are some really good brands, things like 6 Cents, gives probably one of the finest hooks for a mass manufactured bait that you can get. Now, stores don't sell 6 Cents; they sell direct. So, not a whole lot you can do unless you already got it in your tackle box. But more than likely, you got some pretty good hooks in your tackle box. So if you do buy, a bait tomorrow, or or when you inventory the baits that you're going to use, what I want you to do is try to catch the top layer of your skin on your finger. See if it'll, hook you. I mean, not through the skin, just the top layer. See if that hook is sharp enough to go ahead and catch it. And whenever I shop baits, that's kind of what I do. I'll open the bait, I'll check the hook, and make sure that, with very little pressure, it'll go ahead and penetrate, whatever it's designed to penetrate. You'd be surprised how bad hooks are on baits. You really would. If you buy my baits, you can see how good those hooks are. In fact, on my swim baits, big ones, my glide baits, I put a hook keeper on it because they're so sharp. I mean, just the hooks are $3.50 each for each one of those. So I mean, $3.50 per hook. And I mean, if you're going to buy a $30 bait from me or a $50 bait, that thing better have the best hook on the market. And that's basically how I make my, when I design my baits, the hook has to be stellar. It's just got to be stellar. So I need you to go through your tackle box tonight or tomorrow morning and start putting your finger on hooks. And you'll see, you will feel dull ones. You just will feel dull ones. And hopefully you've got some extra treble hooks or single hooks that you can go ahead and remove those hooks from the split ring and then put a new hook on so you can catch more fish and land them tomorrow. And that is going to be a big, big win for you. It's just going to be a big win. Always inventory your quality check your hooks. It's real important. Now, with my rods, I have a lot of rods because I have rods made for very light tackle and I've got rods for very big, heavy tackle. Anything from 1/64 of an ounce, about 5 grams, to 5 ounces. So if you ever wonder why I have so many rods, or anybody for that matter, it's typically a bass guy. Yeah, the reason we have all those rods is because we've set them up for different types of fishing. And it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. I know. And I will bring a selection of my rods tomorrow at the Lake of the Woods, so you guys can see what you can throw on certain rods, if indeed that's what you want to, you want to sort of look to see what I own, and then sort of gauge maybe, in the future. Now, the nice thing is for my 2,000 subscriber giveaway for my channel, which isn't coming as fast as I thought it would because we're at 1,800, almost 1,900, I'm giving away a custom rod. So I want you guys to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe, and let's get to 2,000, and we'll put that video on and we'll give one away as we hit it. So really good rod, and you'll be able to see one tomorrow at the lake. And I've got some really fun surprises coming for the channel for 2,000. So I think you guys will really enjoy what I have planned for Taro Bullet fishing locally and on the channel. So, but that's what you want to, you want to come by the table. If you have any questions whatsoever, I need you to come by the table and ask them of me. And I will show you how to tie a knot. If you don't know how to tie a knot, I'll show you how to tie a knot. I will show you how to, if you don't know, you don't know how to present bait to it, I will try to describe bait presentation to you. And that's another really nice thing, because it's not, not necessarily what you throw, it's how you pull it back. I could throw the same thing as somebody else, and one of us is going to catch a fish. But that's because one of us is drawing it back to us, reeling it in a different method and manner than the other one. Oh, it would drive me nuts when I was terrible at fishing. Because the guy would actually set my gear up for me. He'd throw it out there and he'd catch a fish, and I didn't. You know how frustrating that is? It's pretty frustrating. But I learned it's all about bait presentation or lure presentation. Maybe the fish wants the pause. Sometimes it wants it a little deeper. Sometimes it wants it a little higher. Sometimes it wants it a little faster, a little slower. Sometimes when you start fishing in the morning, you're basically learning what the fish wants. And you have to catalog that in your head in order to repeat it if you get a bite. And that's real important. It's sort of like golf. Golf looks easy. It's a club, there's a ball on the ground, you hit it and it goes that way. But golf is all about technique, isn't it? If that golf club is slightly askew in your hand, or if you take your eyes off the ball, or you lift your feet too early, it's literally the hardest thing about golf is repeating a perfect swing. That's the hardest thing about golf, because you'll get a perfect swing once in a while, but it's so hard to repeat. And that's kind of the way it is about fishing. Fishing is about presentation, and you have to repeat that presentation over and over and over again to the fish. Now, fortunately, it's not as hard as golf. But once you understand what the fish wants, you got to repeat it over and over and over again. And that's it. That's as simple as it gets. Now, if you use worms, so just tear off a piece of worm. Just use a little piece of the meat. You don't have to use the whole worm. You just don't. In order to catch fish. You get 12 big giant, night crawlers, and they'll last you a whole day, you and a buddy, if you just tear off pieces of meat of it and put it on the hook. Again, if you use power bait, a lot of people love rainbow power bait. I'm a tequila sunrise power bait guy. I like darker power bait. I find darker power bait does really good at Lake of the Woods. And, the black and purple is really good power bait for Lake of the Woods. So, tomorrow, this weekend, tomorrow at Lake of the Woods, and it starts officially at 8, ends at 2. Again, start as early as you want. Get your spot, set it up, get your thermos out with your hot cocoa or coffee, and just have a good morning. Before 2 o'clock, you bring everything to me. And let's give away prizes between 2 and 3. At 3 o'clock, the concert starts. And that's going to be a lot of fun, as well as the barbecue. I want you guys to have so much fun this weekend. And remember, you do not need a fishing license this weekend. So come out to the water with your family. Make memories. That's probably the most important thing. I'll try to make sure that the kids get prizes. We'll see how many we got. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in this week at Terrible at Fishing. And I will see you guys out on the water tomorrow. So tight lines, hopefully, today's show helps you catch some memories tomorrow. Take care, everybody.